how many? What percentage is reporting in North Carolina?
76.
76% reporting. You're down by 7. You're in a world of trouble. You're like, yes, it matters which counties, but you're still in a world of trouble. And in so much trouble that one of the organizations has already called it. Okay, now let's go to Georgia.
Yeah. By the way, Iowa has been called by CNN at least for Trump.
Iowa called for Trump, so there goes that nonsense. I'm getting revved up here on a significant rant. So, because Kamala Harris is not winning.
Just came off the Young Turks show where I lit into the Democratic Party. Bunch of losers, corporate Democrats. I hate them. They've cost us election after election. They're corrupt. And they lost, it looks like, to a syphilitic clown, total moron, con man, Donald Trump. So if you lose to a buffoon like Donald Trump twice, what does that make you?
We still have an electorate, 70 million plus, that will be voting for a man who said he was going to assassinate for treason the chairman of the Joint Chiefs because he didn't support him on January the 6th, who has said just in recent days he was going to execute Liz Cheney with a firing squad, 9 guns pointed and shooting at her face. A man who has said that he was going to shut down CBS because he didn't like how they edited an interview. A man who said he was going to be a dictator from day one. A man who said he was going to terminate the Constitution. A man who said he was going to use the army and he was going to use the National Guard on his political opponents. I literally could go on all day, and yet you talk to Trump voters and they'll go, he didn't say that. Wait, no, I didn't hear him. And then you say, well, here's the quote, and then they'll go, yeah, he didn't mean that. So there's something far more long-lasting than just Donald Trump, the candidate. There is a sort of Russian embrace of disinformation, a radical devaluing of truth over the last 9 to 10 years, and a complete ignorance on civics and what the term Madisonian democracy even means, what checks and balances even means, what judicial review even means, what the rule of law even means. How do we as a nation, even post-Trump, how do we reach those Americans who apparently didn't go to civics class, apparently didn't learn the basics of this Constitution, and have just been overwhelmed with disinformation over the past 9 years?
A big, huge part of the story that it's hard to even digest fully at this moment. But you have Elon Musk, who owns Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it these days, X, who is a disinformation propagandist and now has could potentially have a direct line to the Oval Office.
This on this set numerous times is that you have a state where you've got a 6-week abortion or a 12-week abortion. I think theirs might be 12 weeks.
Yep.
But it's a state where women lost their reproductive rights, where there was a very heavy push to get women to focus on not putting in place, re-electing, putting back into the White House the person who was responsible for taking those rights away and restoring them. But that message obviously was not enough to get enough white women to vote for Vice President Harris, a fellow woman. This will be the second opportunity that white women in this country have to change the way that they interact with the patriarchy. And, God bless Shannon Watts, who has tried to have that conversation. But if people aren't receptive to it, and if people vote more party line or more on race than on gender and on protecting their gender, there's really not much more that you can do but tell people what the risks are and leave it to them to do the right thing.
Progressive pocket. You're saying, wow, 65% of the vote, 66 if you round up, that's great.
Oh my God.
73%. And the math, 157,000 to 103. Well, again, we got 30% of the votes still to come in, and maybe the percentages change as well. Maybe all the votes that are out are from the campus, and it juices up the number a little bit. But if you're looking at,
I'm here in Washington at a watch party. There's lots of Democrats here, and I have to say a lot of them are starting to go home, and there's a lot of sad faces downstairs. I'm with one of those voters now. How do you feel about the election results so far?
Honestly, I'm kind of bored. This is America, so, oh my gosh, the black woman didn't win.
You're bored. Are you worried?
Worried about America?
About Trump winning?
No. It wouldn't be the first time a rich white man wins, so it's okay. It's going to be the same as it always is.
And why do you think it looks like the race is going in his direction?
Oh, because of the economy, and people don't know how it works. So they just vote for how their purse feels, and that's what we're seeing today.
Do you think that Kamala will win? Do you think she's got any chance at this point?
And she hasn't had a chance since Joe Biden stepped down. Honestly, in my opinion, she didn't have a chance. But, she can put up a good fight, I guess. That's what we do.
You don't sound too optimistic.
No, I was never optimistic. In America, optimism is not recommended.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, there you have it, folks. From Sank the Jank of the Young Jerks, the Young Turks, to Jen Komunisaki, to Joy Reid. And can you believe that guy can't keep his mouth shut for a while? And I'm certainly talking about Sank the Jank, but Morning Joe. People, they have to sit there listening to that diatribe, that bullshit, that verbal diarrhea that comes out of his mouth. And then Mika just sits there meekly. It's just absolutely crushing, folks. And then you finally have this young lady. This is the reason why the Democrats are losing, folks. This is why the left side of politics, the Democrats, the leftists, the liberals, this is why. Because they can't stand this country. They're ashamed of being Americans. She says she's bored. She has no optimism. What's there to be optimistic about? Just another white guy winning the presidency. Like a black woman. Never gonna win. That's her thinking. That's the way that they're being programmed. The propaganda that's coming out of the left is absolutely unbelievable. But folks, we on the right side, the conservative side, we want the Democrats to stay that way. We want Sank the Jank of the Young Jerks. The Young Turks. We want them to be that way. We want them to continue to foment that type of just sheer idiocy. We want them to continue down that lane. And we want the same thing from Morning Joe and Mika Brzezinski and Joy Reid. We don't want them correcting. We don't want a course correction from them. No, we want them to continue driving that lane, and just going right off the freaking political cliff, folks. That's what we want them to do. A crushing, absolute crushing blow to the Democrats. That's what we want to keep happening. So I'm begging all of them to continue to do exactly what they're doing right now. Don't change course. You're doing exactly everything the right way. Exactly the right way. Anyways, folks, let's get to more people just getting absolutely triggered by Donald Trump winning. Let's get to the next cut right now. You're watching the Dr. Nasser Shake Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nasser. If you haven't done so already and you like what you're seeing, subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow us. You all know what to do. Let's take it away with more triggering events from Donald Trump's victory. We're going to do that right now.
Hey, we'll live another day.
So you think that she may not win because she's a black woman?
Oh, she definitely won't win because she's a black woman.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
these Democratic leaders are simpletons. They're servants of the donor class.
He's a blowhard.
So they go in there like, oh, donor, give me money, please. And I made an ad. I'm Kamala Harris. I'm full of joy. Okay, well, what did that get you? And they say, oh, Jake, you're too angry. Too angry? What? You think?
I mean, there's a shift right.
He's such a retard.
And then there's a shift to Trump, and shifting to Trumpism. And I'm looking at a lot of things, especially after David talked
You're a
about
race hater.
looking at counties and how Trump is gaining on what he did.
This
in
guy's a black
2020.
supremacist.
To me, I'm mystified in some ways.
You're an idiot.
Simply because we're talking about a twice impeached, 4 times indicted, convicted
Oh boy,
on 34
same old
felony
bullshit.
counts, former president. That's one bucket. Then in another bucket,
This guy's a race hater, a race traitor, and a race baiter. Not only that, but as I said before, he is an absolute black supremacist.
have all of the things he's been saying on the campaign trail that gets to the decency that the woman was talking about in that last report, and how she wanted to vote for Vice President Harris because she didn't like that Madison Square Garden rally.
There we go again. The Madison Square Garden rally was absolutely, it was anti-Semitic. It was a KKK rally. A KKK rally with about 50% of the people there who were Jewish, and Jewish flags and all kinds of Jewish symbolism at a KKK rally. That's what this moron, Jonathan Capehart, who I said before is a black supremacist, wants us all to believe. This is the bullshit narrative that they were feeding us, folks. Absolute pure bullshit.
I am
retarded.
I am mystified that despite all of that, he's gaining support compared
Damn
to
straight,
2020.
baby.
And it gets back to something I said earlier
Told
at
ya.
some point, one of the hours ago, that who are we as a country?
We're great.
And we're starting to find out. And from what
Great
I'm
nation we
seeing
are.
right now, I'm not sure I like it.
Yeah, I don't like you either.
The people who said that he was a Hitler lover weren't Democrats. They were Republicans. People
Liars.
who said that he was a fascist were
Liars.
Democrats.
They were
They were
liars.
Republicans who worked for him. And so it's not just these elite Democrats over here, poisoning the well. You had a pretty broad consensus from Chomsky to the Cheneys, that was very, very concerned and remains concerned. And so I think it's not just on us to stop calling names. I think it's up to him to, as Allison said, with deeds show that he's not going to be those things.
Well, having said that, what percentage is reporting in North Carolina?
76.
76% reporting. You're down by 7. You're in a world of trouble. Yes, it matters which counties, but you're still in a world of trouble. And so much trouble that one of the organizations has already called it. Okay, now let's go to Georgia.
Yeah, by the way, Iowa has been called by CNN at least for Trump.
Iowa called for Trump, so there goes that nonsense.
Remember all that crap? Remember the crap? The poll dropping? The Ann Alka-Seltzer poll, which is exactly what she and a bunch of Alka-Seltzer after she dropped that poll and after the election? Holy crap, folks. Iowa up by 3 or 4. A 17-point effing miss. 17 points. And Alka-Seltzer was off.
I'm getting revved up here.
Oh, he's getting revved up.
Rant. So, because Kamala Harris is not winning.
Like we've said, folks, these are all absolutely blubbering buffoons. They don't know a single thing about politics, nothing at all. They claim they're from the punditry class. They claim that they're from the political class, but they're not. They're not at all. They don't know a damn thing. Just go back. Listen to their prognostications. Listen to their predictions. Look at the way that they were basically trying to drive down that lane on that highway, and the narrative that they were spinning, that she actually was ahead at one time by 7 or 8 votes. You hear so many 7 or 8 points. in the polls. Just go back and look at the stuff that these guys were talking. All it's the you know what, it's all out there. The information is there for you to find. You just have to take a look at what these guys were saying throughout the campaign. In the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, just go back and take a look at some of the videos that these guys are putting out. And you'll see how many times these guys were saying, yep, she's got it in the bag. She's winning. Oh, after the debate, she is up. She crushed it in the debate. And we all know that that was all propaganda. Or maybe they believed the polls that were out there when they knew damn well that they shouldn't. But they wanted that narrative to be spun. That's what they wanted. And that's why these people now are so triggered. Because they're looking at it and going, what the heck happened? She was up in all the polls. When even the internal polls from the Kamala Harris campaign were saying that they were so shocked and surprised that their internal polls that they were doing didn't show her ever having a lead. But all these outside polls were showing that she did. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasser Sheikh Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasser. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow. You all know what to do. There's 4 videos up there, links in front of you. Choose from those or so many others that we have listed on our webpage. Anyways, my final thought. Oh, give me your thoughts. What do you think of all these prognosticators, all these triggered woke libsters? My final thought. When you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.